Okay. Hello. Um, I guess while I'm waiting to respond to any comments that you guys have, let me tell you what came up today. Hi, Ingard. Hi, Eddie. Uh, FP Journe's we heard that 20% is being bought by Chanel. And not sure what's going on or why. I guess the sort of from a business point of view, it provides a way for FP Journe to do something. Hi, Manuel. Uh, but I'm not sure what or how. When Hermes bought 25% of Vasseur Fleurier Manufacturing, I took it to be, well, they want to have a sort of I guess, a stable source or something for movements for their watch division. And so anyway, but I'm thinking, okay, here's Chanel. Now Chanel, I mean, most people think of Chanel if they think of, they think most guys don't think of it at all unless, well, I gotta buy a bottle of perfume for my wife or something. What about Chanel and watches? Well, right now, Chanel has two finalists in the Grand Prix d'Horlogerie de Genève. So, in looking at the history of Chanel with their watches, they've used some really top-notch watchmakers, such as Agenhor. And their current one, I think they had another version of it, and I'll say version in quotes. Another version last year was is called the Boyfriend. I don't know if, about that, but so we know Chanel has is not going to, let's say, have something. They're not going to try to turn it into a fashion company or a sort of making factory watches. Hi, Mad. Hi, rather. Um, or is it Rasher? Rasher. Uh, so anyway, so I thought, well, let's get some of your opinions about this. First of all, if if everything turns out, and I have no reason at this point to believe that the report is anything other than true. I haven't the sources of it. There's a person named the Journe guy, and Ryan Schmidt pointed that out to me. So it was like, and another guy pointed it out to us ahead of time. So anyway, that's the high end. So that's sort of the context of it. Now, if it turns out that tomorrow, um, I hope it doesn't affect prices negatively. Oh, by the way, I've got on my FP Journe Resonance, Chronomet Resonance. I wore it in honor of our discussion today. Actually, today is Francois Paul Friday, so that's why it's on too. Um, Prices negatively. The prices, I don't know. In other words, Imad, are you asking whether this is going to cause a drop in the prices? Um, it, in the one hand, that might be a good thing in this respect. I think more people could then afford an FP Journe. Right now, sort of the floor for getting an FP Journe is about $20,000. That's not counting the. I think you can probably pick up the Egala Elegant. I think is the name of it. Um, Now, why would they drop, Emad? I mean, are you talking about the value, like ones you already have, or the new ones are going to have a lower price, or just sort of the whole thing with value? I'm not sure what you mean by that. There's the only thing in card. I think that it will bode well. Expect collaboration between Journe and Chanel. Okay, I'm going to say this terribly. Um, Metered art projects and maybe a constant channel Chanel watch with a stable in-house movement developed by Journe. Parmigiani did that for Chopard. That's a good point. Well, actually, it was, yeah, it was, I guess, and who was it? Straher. I can't think of his first name. Straher did the same thing for um, Maurice Lacroix and Parmigiani. Um, Andres Strayer did that. I'd rather have an FP Journe around than it being a failed independent. And I just hope they weren't in such bad financial state they were forced to sell 20%. Eddie, I don't think that's the case. I know, I know some people who offered FP Journe financial. They wanted to invest in FP Journe and offered it several times, and he turned them down. In other words, I don't think FP Journe was in trouble financially, but I'm not sure why he decided to do it. And one might say, well, if it's not financial, what could it be? And it could be, I don't know what. I was thinking, well, I mean, a couple of guys said, well, in order to grow, but growing to me for a company like FP Journe isn't necessarily a good thing, because I think their reputation is really based on FP Journe's craftsmanship. And so what are they going to do? They can't, I don't think they can work any harder. So I mean, like, they're going to feed FP Journe more vitamins. And I also, somebody recently mentioned that his second son is in the watchmaking, sort of taking up apprenticeship at FP Journe. Is going to run the business when FP Journe decides to retire. And that's not uncommon, but it's not common either. And that is a very interesting kind of thing. So I don't know. I have okay. So I don't think it's be a failed independent. I don't think they're forced to sell. I think there was. I don't know what else. What are some, trying to get some ideas from you guys? What do you think? Say, hey, um, I want to sell 20% of the company because I want to use the money to do something, and I want to sell it to Chanel because I know other people said, hey, we'd like to invest in it. We got the money here for you, and they did. But he said, no, he didn't want it. They were used to being obscure with a very small but loyal following. This might change the dynamics. Yeah, I think in card, I think that the smallness of it had to do with the price. Those things are crazy expensive. And, when the bottom for a used FP Journe, you're talking $20,000 for quartz, uh, maybe 10,000. But the majority and the ones that I've had have kept going up in price. So I don't. I mean, of course, on the used market, Journe doesn't get anything for those. He didn't for this one. Okay, let's see what some other ideas you have. Email. I'm thinking of getting the Havana. Oh, I love the Havana. I just love that. It's called. Well, I think it's the yes. The Havana that I like is called the Chronomet Struvain Havana. That's a I have the regular Chronomet Cervena, and I love it. In fact, I think that's probably one of, if not the favorite watch of mine. It's one of the favorites. Um, okay, Rasher. As far as I'm concerned, someone said they'd never buy a watch made by Patek, branded Costco. Costco. Okay, now Chanel, Costco. They live on two different planets. FP Journe and Chanel always lived on the same planet, whereas Costco and Steinhardt may live on the same planet. Okay, so let's see what else you got. Um, Ant, that would scare me. FP Journe, Chronomet, Chanel at Nordstrom, or Macy's basement, Filene's basement. No, we don't want that to happen. Does Chanel sell many watches? Good question. The only watches by Chanel that I see are the ones that are either entered into the Grand Prix d'Horlogerie. Otherwise, I never even think about them. I don't think about Chanel that way. Um, I don't. That's a good question, though. I mean, is Chanel trying to make a move into having more watches? But I think Hermes moving toward Vaucher makes a lot of sense. There's a company that makes watch movements. There's a company that wants to have watches with some respect. But Chanel and FP Journe, because FP Journe isn't, I mean, they have movements, they make themselves. They even have the cases. There's a company that FP Journe owns called Beautrelet something or other. So I don't know. Okay, let me see. This is a bad thing. The only reason a large company wants a slice of a small company is to make it a larger company. NI addictive guy, that's what I'm worried about too. That's exactly what I'm worried about. What I'm afraid of is that there are a lot of good business reasons not to do a lot of the best things that FP Journe has done. Like a watch like this doesn't make any sense. I mean, a resonance watch is that the whole purpose of it is to sort of show the impact of resonance on identical dials, and which is to me fascinating. I could watch it all day. But as a practical thing, what you do is that you make a million billion swatches instead. So that what NI addictive guy said is what I'm most concerned about. Okay, Kitty Meow Boo. Maybe they want to grow Rolex style business. Oh, I hope not, Kitty Meow Boo. I saw Rolex in Bright Lane for sale at Costco. Yeah. FP Journe handbags. Oh my God. Uh, oh. So now we consider FP Journe an independent. Well, yeah, I don't know what else you'd consider them. I mean, it's sort of like you take Laurent Fourier or Kerry Vuitton-Lana. Now those are Roger Smith. Really small companies. Sort of very much centered around one person. But so's FP Journe. It's centered around FP Journe, but they're a good bit bigger. And so I don't know. I don't think they're going to be FP gone. Robin, I hope not anyway. Okay. Hi, your viewer. Oh, hi. I bet you FP Journe will definitely develop a stable movement for Chanel. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. In card, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Same like how Parmigiani developed caliber 1.96 that was elevated the status of Chopard. Good point, and that might be exactly what they have in mind. I mean, in a good way. If you look at the watches, at least the ones I know about that Chanel has, they have some extremely good movements. What I don't know though is that what their, you might say, their daily driver looks like. I have no idea. The ones I see are, they're the bezels made of diamond. Okay, take a look at, and it has a funny name. It's called the Boyfriend, and it's in the pre-selected group of the Grand Prix d'Horlogerie 2018. So I think it's going to be something that, so you're not dealing with some, schlock outfit as far as watches are concerned. Now, there have been other luxury brands that have come into um, high horology and done a very good job. Hermes is probably the best example because, I mean, what are they? They make handbags. True, the handbags that Hermes makes, they, they go with the watches as far as expense is concerned. I don't know, what are they called? There's Hermes makes a handbag that uh, the Princess of Monaco liked. God, I can't think of her name. Anyway, those things are like $20,000 to $30,000 a pop. So, with the watches that FP Journe has, probably the same thing. Okay, let me see. Similar to Parmigiani and Hermes, yeah. A little different though, because remember now, Hermes bought into Bashur, okay, which is primarily that. But I don't know. I guess FP Journe is a movement maker. Maybe I tell you a line of watches, maybe he wouldn't mind getting rid of, and Chanel wouldn't mind having, would be the Elegante. He's very proud of the this watch he made. I'm going to do one second. I just realized that something wasn't plugged in, and where is the thing? There it is. Oops, easy. Yeah. Okay. All better now. Sorry about that. The Elegante line, Emad and Kitty Meow Boo. The Elegante line may be one that FP Journe wouldn't have a success with, but Chanel might. What about that as a possibility? That kind of thing. And the movement for it is extremely interesting in that when you put it away at night, it turns off most of the battery that it uses. It just uses a very minuscule part, and supposedly the batteries in those things is supposed to last for 50 years. that's that's a long time between changing batteries. Okay, they still cost 10K plus. They do. You're absolutely right. I mean, that's on the used market. I don't know what they are new. Um, but that's like half of what the least expensive watch they have, which is not the Chronomet Blue, but rather I think it's at their sports line watch. They didn't seem to be a big hit either. Okay. Oh, same 10K. Hey, Zaber. Uh, you're always great to see around every time. Okay, so let's see. 10, that's an expensive Duracell. Yeah. Either that or it's a really long cord. All right. So, any other ideas? What is behind Chanel's move? At least it's only 20%. Okay, now that's another good point. It's 20%. Why 20%? And is that you? Yeah, I don't. FP Journe is not a man without an ego. he, he doesn't exactly emote humility, and I from everything I know, I doubt that he's going to say, "Oh, please help me. What should I do with my business?" That's not FP Journe. I don't know who it is. You know, the other thing. This is what bothers me, I guess. And this 20% is not 100%. But when you look at companies that were whose eventually ended up being bought totally by somebody else who, like Roger Dubuis, his name was used with a lot of iffy kinds of movements later. Same thing with Gerald Genta. He had one. They forced him out. Now that sounds more like what happens with software companies and technology companies. What they'll do is they'll get rid of the origin of the original guy right away. Okay, they thought they have a real say in the direction. I don't think so. I don't think so. He would not sell. Um, he would not sell more than 20%. Jobber, is that or sell totally? Okay, let me look at some of the other comments you guys have here. Same reason Maserati and Bentley that make SUVs now. They need to grow to stay relevant in a competitive world. Oh boy. Um, a, a Bentley SUV, it's just, I don't know. uh, to the same entity. Okay. Yeah, I see what you mean. In other words, if if two companies had less than a majority, it'd be one thing. Uh, there was a back when there was an owner of the New York Yankees who had, I think, 51%. Every other owner had he wouldn't let him say anything. So he was another guy who had his mind made up about what's right and wrong. Okay, Lamborghini SUV as well. Lamborghini, Kitty Meow Boo. You're breaking my heart with every one of these. Um, when I first saw the Porsche, I think it was a Porsche SUV. I was that times change. Maybe that's what'll happen. What are some business directions? Where may FP Journe, let's say, hey, I'd like to try this or try that. That this somebody infusing 20% in his business would help. Now he's got this. He's got his offices right in the middle of Geneva. Um, okay, you're a thanks, Kitty. Um, what about where would that go? I mean, do you think that's going to play into it? Um, as 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 an ersatz watchmaker myself, uh, it, if you really look at FP Journe as a watchmaker, um, there's um, there's only so much he can do. I mean, like maybe what he's has planned for. Oh, doggone it! I always forget to deep six this. There. Um, there it's hung up now. Um, oh, yeah. Okay, sorry. Um, all right, so let's see what you say. I think it's trying times for high-end horology, and Chanel is still high-end brand, so the collaboration makes more sense than say between Invicta buying them like Glycine. Okay, smart watches must hurt some. Boy, relatively speaking, smart watches are are cheap. I mean, they're even Apple's newest, brand new, most expensive um, smartphone is $1,100. That, like I said, okay. Let me see. Same group owns Big Steak in Holland and Holland businesses usual. Okay, uh, does Chanel, Jabra, does Chanel own a big hunk of Holland and Holland? Because I found out that FP Journe has one of the largest collections of gunmetal watches. In other words, watches that are made of gunmetal, even though his are not. Um, except for the Holland and Holland, he's got some gunmetal in there. In fact, the whole case may be of gunmetal. Um, did it disappoint you as a Journe owner? It didn't, because there are a lot of different ways to look at that, Ant, and that's as I don't know, Journe owners. I don't know. I'm not sure. On the one hand, it's saying, well, I got the Journes I have, or before he got taken over by Chanel, and there what if that becomes sort of the line of when their quality changed for the worse, then I'll have really great watches. On the other hand, if it doesn't affect the quality, then I don't think it's going to affect the prices. Like I said, these went up in value in terms of when I say they went up in value, what people are selling them for a lot more than when I got mine, what I paid for them. And of course, that's nice to see, but whether or not that's not that important to me. I'm sort of like I know that a lot of people, I've said this before, they wear resale values. They don't wear watches. Not me. I could care less about that. I buy the watch because it's something I really like, and I really like to enjoy it. And I've made some mistakes, and if I haven't, I don't think a for real watch collector doesn't make mistakes. He or she is either incredibly lucky or doesn't buy too many. I mean, there's sort of like there's certain very safe watches to buy, and we all know what they are. You buy a Rolex or a Patek Philippe, and you're safe because then if something happens, you can sell those. Okay. On the other hand, if you buy a Parmigiani, you better buy it after the price drops because unless something changes. Okay, Jean will get access to the Chanel VIP list. Ooh, but I mean, there is a waiting list of 2 years, Jobber, for the Chronomet Blue. Probably Chanel wants to expand its portfolio and watches is a local path. FP Journe is recognized luxury brand. Yeah, Manuel, they are. Yeah, there's probably some mutual benefit in here, and I think that what happens if Journe gets access to Chanel's VIP list? Jabber, the watches we have will that'll increase the demand, and when the demand increase, what happens to the price? That goes up. So that would be I think certainly good for us. Okay, hey Redskins, I expect to see double signed pieces. Chanel by FP Journe. What about this? There's something else too. Other than the Elegante, I don't think Journe has any other women's watches. Maybe this is something that Journe is looking to and saying, looking to those channels. And what Javers said is about the VIP list. I would imagine women with serious resources or access to serious resources would certainly be on that list. He is working on the astronomical caliber that is expected to retail for $500,000. Oh man, I hope they don't run out of those before you and I get one, Jabber. Especially me. Just as a side note, for astronomical, the ones another watch I'd really like to get someday. Yeah, I was right. What I'd really like to get someday is a Christian Vanderklaw. Now, those are some really amazing astronomical watches. The ones that I can afford I think they have a SOPROD A1 or A2 in it, something like that. But the astronomical uh, uh, module is by Christian Vanderklaw, which I thought that might be sort of a cool thing. And so FP Journe with an astronomical calendar. Some of Christian Vanderklaw's prices are way up there too. Okay, well, listen, I thought this might be something I haven't the the sources for this. uh, I guess they'll be talking about that in some of the in some of the online watch journals. But I thought it might be something fun to sort of kick around for a while. But my half hour is up, and in order to avoid the serious argument of a rolling pin, I'm going to have to sign off for now. So thank all of you for coming, and with some luck, this is going to preserve the top chat. I hope so anyway. Okay, adios for now, and see you Sunday. Take care.